military so that they could get out and blow them up real quickly. So there's all kinds of uses of such a material that the military could easily have.
Okay. Jim's done a lot of thinking about these things. Obviously, thank you, Jim. I think I'm getting tired, and I think there are two. Well, go. I was only going to do two, but now we're up to four. Okay, you're great. You're the last one. Okay, we'll try to be out of here. Kurt? Let's go. Okay. Okay. First of all, thank you for the very interesting talk. Thank you for coming here. I've read the paper in some detail, and I think you proved conclusively that it's not paint because it doesn't dissolve in methyl.
Not ordinary paint.
And the elemental aluminum is interesting, but to me, the by far the most interesting point that you make is what happens in the differential scanning calorimeter. What you're saying is
he's passing the quiz.
What you're saying is that it has an energy density of one of the tests you said was over 7,000 joules per gram, which was more than dynamite, TNT, more than conventional thermite.
That's right.
So my question, and so to me that seems like an easy way to make your case to somebody in one step, anybody who has access to that sort of instrumentation into this dust. So my question is, do you know if anybody else is going to be doing those DSC tests, and if not, why not?
Very good, and thank you for reading the paper. So the differential scanning calorimeter is indeed a very important test. That's where you have that blue trace and then the red trace. So it's very characteristic of this material that it's a narrow and tall exotherm, which means explosive, is how I interpret that. So yes, Mark Basil has taken this independent data, and he wrote to me. I emailed him and I said, look, this paper's out. Are you going to publish your data soon on this red-gray material? And he said that yes, but he is trying to find a DSC available. It certainly must be available at Boston University and Harvard and MIT. Are certainly available. Getting permission to use might be a little tougher, but that's what's holding him up, and he's looking very hard now to get that data checked. The other thing we want to do is isolate the red material from the gray, and that's because it's a little technical, but we're looking at kilojoules per gram, and the gray material does not ignite. It's still there after the ignition. So you want to pull off the red material and ignite just that. When you do that, the energy is going to be even more than 7,000 joules per gram. It'd probably double and triple. We're already higher than conventional explosives, as you mentioned. Thanks for bringing that point up. HMX, TNT are already higher than those conventional explosives. This stuff is very dangerous, very powerful.
I'm a student at Davis here, and I just wanted to point out that flyers for this talk were distributed on campus, and it's pretty obvious that not many students have shown up to this lecture. It's been 8 years, and 9/11 is still a taboo subject, and it's taken us this long to amass the data to where we can point the finger in some direction. Even if we do accomplish a subpoena, I'm really genuinely fearful that it's just going to turn into another, Oliver North situation where we have, someone who's just being disenfranchised by their own system and put in front of the Supreme Court to basically cry and say, oh, I didn't know any better. And we're here right now, and we can base a speculation on the link between Dick Cheney, Halliburton, and the nanothermite. And so I'm wondering, we need the scientists to take a break from the data-only comprehension and really make a speculation, because we can't rely on the government any longer to provide us with these explanations. And so I really want to ask you if you can I don't know if Nixon's plumbers are here or not, but if we could please have some sort of speculation on something beyond whoever was mentioned earlier, I've already forgot.
Amen. You want to say something about it? I mentioned Dick Cheney. I'm very suspicious. I would like to have some answers because of the lack of air defenses in this testimony. But beyond that, do you have to say something about it?
I just have a little anecdotal thing that's a curiosity.
I mean, I can't really speculate other than that I would think that it must be an element, would have to be an element within the government, an element within the military, and an element within private industry. Beyond that, I don't know what to say. I just wanted to tell a little anecdote. Several years ago at the Humanist Hall in Oakland, I met a man who worked for Chevron Corporation for many, many years. He was a career oilman, and he told me in confidence, he wouldn't go public with it, that in the days or maybe the months before September 11, 2001, he was at a what is called a geomapping company, which worked in consultancy with oil companies. And these guys were at computers, and they had little controls like you see like on video games, and they were running planes into the towers like this in a video exercise. And but I just thought that was curious, and so that made sense to me, and I just thought I'd mention it because that's something that you never hear about.
Okay. There's testimony like that. Thank you. I've heard of these also, and again, we need the subpoena power to bring in people under oath, and I think we could really get to the bottom of it very quickly. I can tell you who you'd want to ask. Cheney, the young man that reported to Cheney, Mineta, get his testimony, and only one of those do I suspect as being, informed. Not everyone has to be informed, you understand, to carry out orders. I'm sorry I can't answer for my own states. Oh, I did think of one thing that I point you to. Kevin Ryan, in a paper that's published fairly recently, about 4 months ago, in the Journal of 9/11 Studies. Kevin's a co-author, so he knew that this was going to come out on the nanothermite. He did some study of the connection of NIST people to nanothermite production. We've been talking about nanothermite for years now. We've nailed it, but NIST has not. I've never seen them use the term. They keep talking about, well, it can't be thermite. It can't be thermite. I'm saying, hello, we're talking now about nanothermite. There is a distinction. You understand? Anyway, for some reason, NIST they won't talk about it. I asked them at this meeting, August of last year. They wouldn't touch it. They just, So I'm saying, and then Kevin showed that some of these NIST people have connections with the nanothermite development, and they need to be asked. Okay, I hope that helps.
One thing that wasn't clear from your talk, do you have the name or have any information about the persons that threatened you?
Very little, actually. I know his name. He did threaten me with legal action if I kept talking about thermite. So, but I lost my job. There's really not much you can do economically. My wife's here. Talk about economically. Okay. So, but no, I don't really know much about this fellow.
You know his name, though?
I do know his name.
Can you say it?
Should I go ahead and say it? Yeah, I think I will. What do you think, Leslie? Okay, don't know. But maybe there's an investigator out there, an investigative reporter, for example, someone on the commission that would be formed after this NYC CAN referendum passes. We'll get this guy in under oath and others that associate with him and find out what happened.